In today's episode, I had the pleasure of interviewing Sam Marwood, who is one of the co-founders of Cultivate Farms. Cultivate Farms is a social enterprise which matches the best next-generation aspiring farmers with retiring farmers and investors to own and operate a farm of their very own. They promote to all Australians that being a farmer is not only possible now, but the career of choice. So without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So thanks so much, Sam, for coming on to Generation Ag podcast today. I'm really excited to have you. I think Cultivate Farms is just a really incredible initiative. Let's start at the beginning. Outside of work and outside of Cultivate Farms, who is Sam Marwood and what's your connection to agriculture?
Well, thanks for having me, Kayla. I love what you're doing with this podcast. I'm all about great content for farmers, especially next generation farmers. So Sam Marwood, I'm just a guy who has crazy ideas, I think. I've always had crazy ideas, even just thinking about when I was growing up as well. But I have always had a passion for the environment and farming. I grew up on a dairy farm in central Victoria, and my mum taught me how to grow trees on the farm, and I love that idea that I can create habitat for wildlife and do it on a farm and all be wrapped up in a business. So my parents said, no, you're not getting the farm when I asked them, because I'm one of six and they wanted to sell because that'll unlock the money they need to retire. So then they eventually did, and so I always knew I'd never own my own farm. And so I went off and worked for the Victorian government in environmental policy for 12 years. And I guess now, and I quit there after that time because I wanted to make a difference through my own ideas, I guess. And Cultivate Farms is one of them I'm doing. And I'm just in this world of coming up with ideas and supporting entrepreneurs in the environmental and ag space at the moment and really loving it.
That's amazing. Can you talk to me a little bit about growing up on the dairy farm and what that was like?
I loved it. It's what a great life. I was talking to someone the other day. You'd always watch American movies which say that the kids get in trouble and they'd be grounded. And I was like, what is this word grounded? I live on a farm. I can't go anywhere anyway.
Yeah.
It's a really foreign concept. So I just lived on the farm, and your life was on the farm, and you never get to watch the full seniors footy match because you have to leave at half time to go milk the cows. But yeah, I just love farming, and I think I was going to be a farmer until that day, walking back from the dairy when Dad said it wasn't going to be my farm. I sort of automatically knew I wasn't going to own a farm because I'm like, how do I become a millionaire to buy it in the first place? So that was a very vivid sort of memory that I love farming, but I can't do it. Or I didn't like the idea of working for somebody else for some reason either. So I went off and did other things, but now I've been drawn back to agriculture, which is great with what we're doing with Cultivate Farms.
So let's talk about Cultivate Farms then. So you're the co-founder. For the uninitiated, do you want to tell us a bit about what Cultivate Farms is?
It's eFarmony. It's a farm.
I love that.
It's too expensive to buy the URL, so I haven't bought it. But I think it's too corny as well. But we never set out to build a matchmaking business. There's a matchmaking or Uber of everything, but we never set out to do that. We wanted to solve that problem that I had as an 8-year-old that parents said no, therefore go do something else. But imagine Tim Hicks, the co-founder, came up with the idea, and we were just out one day and he said, look, all I want to do is own a farm. I've been kicking around this farming space, and he did landscape gardening. He goes, all I want to do is own a farm, but I don't have $5 million. And imagine if there was a business that bought farms for young people, and that's where the idea started. And I said, where is that business? And we literally Googled and emailed and phoned people and set up meetings to try and understand what could that mean. Like, that's a massive ask to match someone with dollars to own a farm. Is that possible? What does that mean? So we just spent probably around Christmas 2016 that we came up with the idea, and we spent years unpacking it, and we've realised that this is just about relationships, that there are retiring farmers out there who don't have kids, or kids don't want the farm and they don't want to leave the farm. And so how do we match them with people who would love the farm just as much as them, and how do we set up an ownership transition model which could be lease to buy, vendor finance, equity. There's so many legal arrangements, but we've realised it's just relationships, match people together, and you can come up with a great solution. And we've also realised there are investors out there who don't know how to run a farm, but couldn't think of anything better than to own a farm and have someone to co-own it with. And so we're just sort of inspiring everyone. It's possible you can own a farm. Let's just get you together. And it's turned into something which is really exciting.
Yeah, it's just incredible. I think what you guys do is just amazing. I mean, I'm really lucky. I do have a stake in a farm if I want one, but I speak to people all the time whose biggest barrier to entry into this industry is often the perception that you have to have massive amounts of capital to be a part of it. And I think Cultivate Farms sort of really circumnavigates that whole idea, and that's really amazing. Do you want to talk to us then, about the model? How does it work?
We start from anywhere. I think we either get an aspiring farmer, so we've got about 1,000 on our database at the moment across Australia, and they come to us and say, hey, I'd love to own a farm, just like you talked about then. And we say, well, where are you at? And we just discuss their situation, and then we encourage them to go find their own retiring farmers or investors. And a lot of what we're doing, anyone can do themselves, is what we often say. And then sometimes aspiring farmers say, look, I'm ready for an investor, and we can help them pull a pitch together and then start being annoying and finding local investors. I'm really excited by that. You don't have to put the no in people's mouths, but and what people need is a pitch. They need a document written down explaining why you are the best farmer and why you should be backed. And so we either start with aspiring farmer or retiring farmers coming to us. We probably talk to 3 or 4 retiring farmers a week who love this idea of staying on their farm and love the idea of bringing a young family back to their community, staying involved in the community. And so we just work through them around what do they really, we say, what do you really want for your farm? Just write that down. We don't care. Just tell us what it is, and then we'll try and find the people that match your farm vision and your personality. And you guys, once you match, can figure out what's the best arrangement. And then the third is the investors. So people do come to us and say, I'd love to buy a farm. I don't know how to do that. Don't know what that means. I've got the money. Find me a farmer.
And is it just, do you focus on a particular type of farm or any farming business?
Anything. So because we focus on relationships, it could be a 2-acre market garden, or it could be a 1,000,000-acre station up in the Northern Territory. It doesn't matter. As long as, again, and the profitability, again, depends on what the partners are happy with. The partners in the deal are happy with. Maybe you need off-farm income, that's fine, or maybe the farm can make money and make a good profit for everyone. Again, it's up to the people involved in the deal to be happy with the arrangement, and we're here to find those people, and we're not here to tell you what to do. We're just here to connect you with people that you get along with.
Yeah. And do you find retiring farmers just are really excited to have to show someone the ropes who's as passionate as they are?
Oh, absolutely. It's it gives me tingles every time I talk to a retiring farmer who says that they're so grateful for what we're doing, and that they just want to find a younger version of themselves. They don't say that exactly, but that's in a way what they're looking for, is someone who has that passion. They just can't think of anything else but farming, and they made it happen some way, and they want someone who's going to love the land as much as they do, and is going to put in as much effort and time and listen to them and share. That's what they want. They want to see their farm succeed, and they want to share their knowledge of it. And the limiting factor is just finding the right people.
Yeah. And how many families and farming enterprises have you connected now?
We are working through our 10th at the moment, which is very exciting. We have an investment incubator program we're running at the moment, where an investor wants to back a second aspiring farmer. So we're running this incubator in next year. And we've got about 25 farms on our database on our website now, which are ready to be matched. So we just need to find the right farmer for those farms, and plenty more that we haven't loaded yet. So it's definitely growing, which is exciting. But I know people want to see case studies. They want to see how farms similar to theirs being matched. And so it's a lot of us just proving that, and also highlighting that what we're doing isn't new in a way, that there are vendor finance deals, there are lease to buy, there are equity deals happening every day across the country. They're just not promoted and highlighted. So that's a lot of our job, is just showing, hey, this is normal. It's not dodgy. So the legal arrangements are all there, and so everyone's protected. Have a think about it.
Yeah, wow. And I guess, that's sort of you guys are, maybe it's not essentially new, but it's putting it all in one place and making it easy, the transition really simple for people who just don't know where to start.
Exactly. Giving ideas, I think, is the best thing, and the needed thing. People, don't even know what vendor finance is, or don't know that there are farmers who would give their left arm to farm with them. It's just awareness raising, a lot of it, and I think also people love the idea that there's a third party independent who can help in the discussions and negotiations around partnership as well.
Yeah, and because otherwise, how else would, an aspiring farmer from, let's say, Perth in WA know that there's a retiring farmer in Tasmania, a cherry farmer or something, looking to transition out of their farm? You guys, really do that amazing job of matchmaking, which is so cool. I want to take a step back now and talk about how Cultivate Farms started. So you touched on a little bit before, but I know you started the organisation with Tim and Tegan Hicks, who are farmers from Albury in New South Wales. Talk to us about those first conversations that you had together.
It was a lot of it me being annoying. Tim had the idea. I was just in a dream state for the next few days, thinking, yes, this is it. Imagine if a young person who's never had a farm and isn't going to inherit it can still own a farm. Like, that's just ridiculous. I couldn't stop thinking about it, and then I thought about it from a Tim and Tegan's point of view, saying, well, let's get you onto your farm and use you as a proof case. And I don't just want to start and stop with you. How boring. Let's do this for thousands of farmers. And so we just kept on talking until we finally decided, well, let's set up a business and let's launch a Facebook page and put ideas out there. And just over time, it eventually came together. I guess it helped that I took 12 months long service leave from my government job to start it, thinking that it only takes 6 months to start a business, which is incorrect. And I moved in with my parents-in-law, and I did for 3.5 years. So I gave up a well-paid job and moving in with the in-laws just to see how this could work. And it just takes time. We're probably another 3, 4, 5 years until we really hit our stride, I think, as well. But yeah, it's just people having a crack around the dinner table. I remember our first time we contacted the Border Mail in Albury, and we sent them an email saying, hey, we've got a matchmaking business, and we felt so nervous sending that out and saying, can we say that? Are you allowed to say it? I suppose so. No, don't send it. And then we eventually said yes, and they loved it straight away. We had an article, and then that sort of cemented that we had an idea here that people wanted, and that's just all we've heard ever since. And so that's given us the energy to keep going. And so yeah, 3 of us just plug away trying to find more matches and make this a thing.
Yeah, wow. And so Tim and Tegan, they didn't have a farm, is that right? And then they moved into a farming business as sort of a case study?
Yeah, so Tim grew up on a farm, Tegan grew up in a town, but they've been leasing land. They've started their own business, Hicks Country Beef, in which they grow beef and sell direct just through leased properties. And then Tim's family obviously didn't give him the farm, and he was off doing landscape gardening, but all the time trying to find a way to get on a farm. So they're still toiling away. Tim now works on a farm full time, but we're still got a number of Tim and Tegan still have a number of lease opportunities that they've got and pursuing, and some fall through and then get more. And it's just a constant battle. But in the back of our minds, we're always keeping our eyes open for what a vendor finance deal could be with a retiring farmer, or trying to find investors as well, and how we unlock those local investors to back them.
And I guess that's an important thing to note. It really just sounds like you're not just trying to, match a aspiring farmer with a farm or any farm. It's about really choosing the right deal and the right setup for that particular aspiring farmer and also the retiring farmer as well.
Exactly. And it's a lot of it's probably about timing as well, and being persistent. A lot of our aspiring farmers don't want to tell other people that they want to own a farm because they, feel like they're arrogant or they're, being cocky. But unless you're out there telling people won't know. So Tim and Tegan have found so many lease arrangements that were never advertised, and real estate agents and stock agents can't believe the opportunities they're getting because they're annoying, and they're out, putting Facebook posts up, and Tim's driving up driveways. They're just out there promoting, hey, we want a farm to lease, plus we'd love one to buy, earn our way into, who's interested. And through that, our doors open. And that's what we, again, tell all our aspiring farmers. If you really want this, if you really, really want it, why aren't you out there promoting yourself and telling everybody every single day that you need a farm? And through that, people are probably going to find your farm just to shut you up.
That's so true. And I think, it's relevant to lots of areas, that mantra of, if you want to make it happen, go after it, make it happen, and don't stop until everyone knows you're going to make it happen, because you need them to support you through that as well. So on that note, if people are listening to this thinking, wow, I would love to go down the path of acquiring a farm through, say, Cultivate Farms, what should they do?
First, I think they need to really think about themselves and what they can handle in life. So owning a farm is a big responsibility, and it's like being an entrepreneur. You are an entrepreneur. You're dealing with potentially millions of dollars of an asset, and it's all on you. So if you're happy to wake up at 2 a.m. nearly vomiting, thinking, how am I going to pay the bill? If you can deal with that sort of stress, and also the joys, but you got to think about yourself. Can you cope with this? Then yes, you should consider being a farmer, absolutely, and that's great. And if you can't, I would think maybe you should consider doing something else, or being a farm manager for someone else, which is fine as well. But I think the first step is, who are you and what can you cope with and what do you want out of life? And if it is yes, I'm okay with the idea, or that idea of stress around everything being on your head with a farm sounds fantastic, then you should encourage you to think about this farm ownership opportunity, and then start being creative and thinking about where you are in your situation. So if you have enough money to go buy a farm, fantastic. But if you don't, how are you building your own money, or showing that you can save some money and run a farm? So are you working on a farm? Are you leasing a property and putting your own money on the line? What are you doing to show that you really are in it for the long haul, and you love farming and you couldn't do anything else? So that other people, when you approach them, go, oh wow, Mary really wants this. She's a gun, and she saved X amount of dollars. She's making money off this farm. Maybe I should consider her. And then once you're good enough to own a farm, it's then a matter of, and again, you don't need us from a lot of this. It's you're getting out there and promoting yourself and talking to as many people, and having coffees with a real estate agent, the bank, and the lawyers in town, and anyone that that knows anyone in the region you want to farm, and tell them, hey, I need a farm. I want to do a vendor finance. I'm the best farmer going around. I'm going to keep annoying you until I find my farm. I want this, and the community needs me. We're a beautiful family. Touch on the heartstrings, I think. But get out there and just ask, but also at the same time, while you're asking, is prove you are good enough. Why would someone give you a multi-million-dollar property that you can earn into, or why would someone want to invest $500,000 or $1 million or $10 million into you? Why are you good enough, and show that you are? And I guess what we're saying is, you should spend the time getting good enough, because your dream is possible. A lot of people don't even take the farm job because they think, like I did at age 8, that, oh, well, I'm never going to own a farm anyway, so I'll go do something else. But what we're saying is that carrot, that ownership is absolutely possible. That's just not going to be given to anyone. You've got to be good enough to get that carrot. So know it's possible, and then get out there and work hard. And then hopefully, over time, opportunities start presenting themselves, and you could be on that pathway to owning your dream farm.
Yeah. And on the flip side of that, as someone, who wants to maybe transition out of their business, what's the steps that they should start taking?
I think it's know what you want for your farm and for your life, and this concept of aging on farm. Do you want to stay on the farm, or do you just want to make sure that someone's going to love it as much as you do, that you're handing it to? And do you just need to, financially, do you just need to sell because you've got to clear debt, or whatever it is? It's just knowing what you want for the farm and what you need for yourself financially. And if the answer is, well, I'm okay to be able to transition ownership over a 10-year period, or whatever it might be, or 3 years, or I don't, I'll sell up to 50%, but the rest I'm keeping for the rest of my life. If you're open to this idea of sharing ownership, and then it's just figuring what you want and being confident in that, and then you can talk to us, or you can do your own headhunting around finding a farmer that would be matched, that would work for you. And what I always tell retiring farmers, the fact that you're open to this idea of sharing ownership is absolutely amazing. And through that, you can attract the absolute cream of the crop of farmers, because that is the driving force behind so many farmers. Not everyone, but so many of these next-gen farmers and best entrepreneurs want to have some sort of ownership. And if you as a retiring farmer can say, yeah, ownership's on the cards, you got to, you need a 12-month get to know you, but ownership's on the cards. Who is the best out there? I'm offering you something amazing here. I want the absolute best. And I guess that's part of what we're trying to do, is encourage the best people to follow their dreams of farming. And retiring farmers should know that they have an asset and an opportunity that is really amazing, and there's so many people who would love to farm with them.
So let's talk a bit more about you and your career then. So prior to starting Cultivate Farms, you obviously worked in environmental policy for the Victorian government, and I think it's good to talk about maybe your story, because I think there can be this idea that someone who is passionate and loves agriculture can't also be passionate about environmental issues and those sorts of things, which I just think is so bizarre, because ultimately people who work in agriculture are custodians of the land and the animals that we work with, and we really take that seriously. So do you want to talk to me a little bit about your journey through environmental policy, and then sort of how that led you to working with Cultivate Farms, and the lessons you've applied along the way?
I think that's so true, is that I think most of the land in Australia is privately held with farmers. So they are the custodians, and how do we keep supporting them to keep looking after the land and being profitable and make it a win-win, which is absolutely possible and happens every day as well. So I'm a big advocate for farmers being the best environmentalists out there. And so when because I wasn't going to the farm, I was thinking, well, how do I make an influence in the world, I guess? And I thought the only way to do that is through government. Don't know why I thought that, but that was it. And I had one shot at going to university because my parents weren't going to pay for it. They told me I was the fifth kid and the money had run out. So they said, get a scholarship. So I got a scholarship with the Victorian government, the Department of the Environment, and worked there. And I did learn so much. I guess that's what I knew for those 12 years was policy, and how do you attract funding for natural resource management, and then how do you spend it wisely, and how do you work with landholders to make it a win-win. And I'm got a pretty comprehensive understanding of the whole environmental sector and the drivers behind them, and also the agricultural sector, and learned a lot about policy and strategic planning, thinking, and built some amazing networks, which I think have all stood me in good stead to step out on my own and do my own thing. So I'm often back talking to government around what we're doing with Cultivate Farms, and talking to them about, well, if you want to influence the next generation, we've got to and encourage them to farm sustainably. We've got to support them into farm ownership. That's the biggest blocker at the moment. So that's my goal, is I'd love to be able to influence all of Australia's farmland somehow by influencing the next generation of farmers and inspiring, whether it's me directly or through what we're doing with Cultivate. If we can inspire all of our next generation of farmers and attract the very best, and all of them want to in some way look after the environment, which I'd say nearly every farmer I talk to does. That can be such a powerful impact. So that's what there's a number of things I'm really excited about with Cultivate Farms, that environmental aspect and influence of Australia's landscape could be amazing and quite powerful.
You've taken the next question right out of my mouth, because I was going to ask you sort of what's next for you and for Cultivate Farms. What's in the 10-year plan, I guess?
Thousands of farms matched would be nice. And we're still trying to figure out how to make this a viable enterprise. We have side projects as well to keep us going. So one, making a viable thing that we can keep going and find more matches, because that's without us having a business, we can't make these matches. So that's key. But we've been thinking about a brand. So thinking about how we can create even a club for farmers that want to think about farming in a healthy way or with an environmental focus, or how do we use our name as Cultivate Farms to provide our farmers a premium with their product or open opportunities for them. So any farm we match, we can find great opportunities and make them even more profitable. The cornerstone really is our model of how do we make more and more matches, inspire more people, and then as we build this database of farmers, we could really have a massive impact in Australia's landscape and with farmers, and use that for good, and use it to chat to government around better policies for regional Australia and regional communities. We do have a strong focus at the moment on working with a few regions across Australia and councils to show them that they can do this matchmaking themselves and that they don't have to wait for people like us to make these matches. And how do you educate people and inspire people that they know their community the best and they can be the ones that do this matchmaking, get going and don't be depressed that young people aren't moving to your region. I reckon the reason why people are leaving country towns and regional areas is because they think they can't own a farm and no one's promoting that they can. So let's flip that on its head.
Yeah, I love that. And the other part of Cultivate Farms that I really love is that you guys produce a ton of content. You have a YouTube video channel that's just full of videos. Do you want to talk to me about how that sort of got started?
Yeah, Gary Vaynerchuk. If anyone wants to pump up and
Gary
realize the value of how ridiculous a period of human history we are in right now. And to get on and chase opportunities, they just need to watch Gary Vaynerchuk because he's right. He's an entrepreneur in America who I listened to probably 3 years ago. Who's this crazy bugger? This is once I started Cultivate. And he started saying, you should be creating 6 pieces of content on every single platform once a day, every day, and get your content out. It's free. Everyone is on their phone every single second. You should be creating content, getting a story out there, documenting your journey, and getting on and doing what you want. Like, how did you start a business years ago is often how I think. You have to buy or rent a spot in an office block or out on the main road and then try and get attention in how you do it. But now we've got Facebook, YouTube, social media, and I record everything on my phone and we turn it into a podcast and a YouTube and blog. And our main intent is to create useful content for free that people can pick up and don't need us. They can just go do it themselves and use that as a cornerstone of our business. So yeah, I guess I just reflect on how good a period it is in human history to create content. Is so easy, and then try and think, well, if we need to build this business, we need to be providing useful information that anyone in the world can use and pick up. And if they do want to work with us, they know where we are and they can reach out. So yeah, I encourage our aspiring farmers to document their journey of farming and use. If they have just 100 followers on Instagram, that's 100 people following their journey of wanting to own a farm, who might know that their auntie's best friend's neighbour as a farm. So get out there and use it. I just don't think people realise how amazing social media is for getting whatever it is you want in life done and creating attention.
And I love that thing about, documenting your journey as well. I think it's so cool, when you have built up a platform, whether it be on Instagram or YouTube, for example, to just look back and think, wow, that's what we were doing back then and look how far we've come and look who we've met along the way. I really support that.
I agree. And I think about, I want to be historically correct. And I want people to look back at my videos in 50 years time and go, wow, these buggers they were right. One thing I think about a lot, I've done a video or two on this one, is soon retirement age farmers are going to be approached every day from annoying aspiring farmers asking them what they're doing around farm ownership transition. And right now nobody is. And this is the best time in human history to be annoying aspiring farmer trying to find a retiring farmer. But I love that idea that you've got it documented and you can then prove either you're right or wrong. But also love the idea that we can now create a book about all of this. We've got a little content sitting there that we can just harvest and pull together, and that's definitely on the cards as well in the future. Definitely.
Oh, well, that's so cool, Sam. I think that's probably about what we'll wrap up on. But before we go, I want to ask, can you tell the listeners how they can either get in touch with you or with Cultivate Farms? Because, here at Generation Ag, we're all about building a community of like-minded individuals. So, give yourself a little shout out.
Cultivate Farms on every platform, I think, except for TikTok. We need to get on TikTok.
I can't wait to see Cultivate Farm TikTok videos.
We've thought about it. We haven't done anything yet. But cultivatefarms.com, Facebook, Cultivate Farms, Instagram. There's a podcast.
Which podcast called?
Cultivate Farms, I think it is.
Where can they find you?
You go cultivatefarms.com and all of our links are on there on that homepage as well. And my email's there, sam@cultivatefarms.com. You can send me an email, and happy to kick around ideas with anyone, and definitely keen specifically to inspire that next generation. If you've got that crazy dream of owning a farm, go for it. Let's go for it. Sounds fun.
I love it. All right, Sam, thank you so much for joining us from your car in Victoria today.
Pleasure, Kayla, and well done to you for what you're doing. I'm very keen to support, and hopefully there'll be some more collaborations.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thanks for your attention. We know there are thousands of other things you could be doing or other podcasts you could be listening to, but you've chosen to listen to us. We appreciate your time so much. Please reach out as we're happy to work through your farm ownership pathway with you. Let's get you farming.